Lee Chang-dong is celebrated for his novelistic storytelling, restrained direction, and social commentary. But by far his most defining quality as a filmmaker is his focus on character. It's this part of his work that has helped define who he is as a writer and a director, and it's something he has continually drawn on since debuting in 1997 with his crime drama Green Fish. But what makes his characters special? Why are his characters so memorable to so many people around the world? Massive character arcs and amazing performances certainly go into it, as some of Korea's finest actors have shown off in Lee's films. Lee's previous career as a published author might even answer these questions as well. But based on his films, Lee's interest in the characters we do see appear to run much deeper.
왜 그랬어?
In past interviews, Lee has said that he doesn't intentionally choose subjects for his films, and while his films are often laced with varying degrees of social commentary, Lee feels he's much more interested in studying people and how they're connected to what he thinks about in life. So what does Lee think about? If there's a common thread that we can see emerge across his films, it's that they often feature lead characters that Lee may feel are somewhat marginalised or misunderstood by society, at least within the Korean context. And so to better understand them, he makes films about them. Whether they're the physically disabled, the working class, or even the mentally traumatized, Lee's interest in these types of characters have been a huge part of his cinema. Of his features to date, Lee's 2010 film Poetry is especially unique in that you could say Lee's desire to depict the worlds of those misjudged mirrors Mija's journey to write a poem while grappling with the mysteries and tragedies of that film. By the end of Poetry, Mija dedicates her poem to Agnes, the young victim of sexual violence perpetrated by Mija's grandson and his friends. Lee makes it clear that Mija's poem is a representation of Agnes's thoughts, once Mija's narration turns into Agnes's. This is also reinforced in a past interview too, where Lee says that Mija speaks out with the voice that the girl would have wanted to leave behind. And in that vein, it isn't hard to draw a parallel between Mija and director Lee, as character and creator use their respective art forms to dutifully stand up for those overlooked by society. This isn't the only instance where characters in Lee's films have projected their thoughts through art, as we frequently see them take up one of Korea's favourite pastimes to communicate through the voice of another, when they themselves find it difficult to come up with the right words to express themselves.
나 어떡해 너 갑자기 가버리면.
Ultimately, what makes Lee's characters and their stories so distinct is his ability to challenge his audience, and perhaps even himself, to openly reflect on the realities of these characters and to consider the larger social dilemmas and inequities that exist in this world. In Poetry's case, we see through Mija how female lives are affected by male entitlement. His other films, meanwhile, have critiqued South Korea's economic and political history, societal prejudices towards the disabled, and religion.
원장님처럼 불행한 분은 하나님의 사랑이 꼭 필요해요.
저 불행하지 않아요, 약사님. 잘 살고 있어요.
Out of these big ideas have come some fascinating characters, and at every turn, Lee has managed to mine a wealth of depth by magnifying their intimate and personal drama in such a way that truly feels novelistic. Lee continues on this route with his new film Burning, which already has critics and audiences praising the performances of its three leads and the characters they inhabit. Described by Lee as being partly an exploration of today's youth, Lee's adaptation of a Murakami short story may be considered the director's attempt to unravel millennial malaise. And on that note, here's Steven Yeun, star of director Lee's new film, explaining why he feels the director's work resonates.
Director Lee really captures the human condition in all of its forms, whether it's ugly, beautiful. He just kind of shows you. And those are some of the things that only really graceful masters of their craft can really do. And you know, you watch his old films like Peppermint Candy or Poetry or Secret Sunshine, and it leaves you with the feeling at the end. You can try to dissect the plot and dissect all these things, but it just leaves you with this feeling.